All right, so for this project, I'm actually using a one-way faceplate, and that's because all the class lays are one-ways. I had to put an adapter on here, go from Powermatic to the one-way. I've screwed the walnut sacrifice piece on, then I'll glue this on like this, and let her dry, and we'll start our first row. So glued on, and then I put a board here to apply the pressure. Let this dry for a little bit. I gathered up all the wood that I'll need for all the 8 species. So it looks like the maple here is the thinnest material I have, and it's measuring out at 0.9. So I'm probably be bringing them all down to 0.9 or thereabouts, maybe a little under. So I got all the strips made. For all the woods that aren't used very much, all I'm going to do is 4 strips in a bundle. And the wengi though, and the maple, we're going to go 8 in a bundle. And plan calls for 0.15. I'll go a little bit more in 0.15 because by the time you glue it down, sand it, and turn it, it's going to be less than 0.15. So I go a little bit more, 0.16, maybe as much as 0.17. We'll see how it comes out. And like I mentioned earlier, the maple is the thinnest wood here, so widthwise, so we'll use that. We'll get the rest of them down, sand it down to that size right here, which is a little shy of 0.9. It's like 0.88 or something like that. So all right, now we'll sand them down. Just trying to make a nice tight bundle. That's all there is to it. For this first row, it calls for 0.295 inches, so I've set the dial up to 0.295. Measuring at 0.296, so pretty darn close there. Go with it. Gluing here. This project is 48 segments per row, so for this you need to use a center row. The center row of holes has 96 holes total. So what we have to do is we have to glue one down, skip a hole, glue one down, skip a hole. But I like to glue one down, skip 2 pieces, and glue one down, skip 2 pieces all the way around. So what you need to do then is to count to 6. You glue one down and then count to the 6th hole is where you want to glue it down. So starting at 0 here. So then I would glue one down, then move it. I'm looking at the holes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one's glued down, then you put your glue on and glue the next one. So by doing that now, you have enough room after the glue dries to fit 2 into it like that. So that's the idea here. Is so because this is 48, we're only going to be gluing on every 3rd piece. We're going to glue down 16 pieces. We're going to make sure glue is dry a little bit, and then clean the excess glue out in the grooves here. So that's what the plan is. This first row, well, this is wingy, this is really the first row, but the first row, small pieces, is 4.5 inches. I made this base 4.5, so you're just going to be matching this all the way through on this first row. So let's get started here. Put it at 0. Put some glue on. My glue thing is clogged up here, so open it up. Don't need to put a lot of glue on. So I'm putting it against here. I have this just raised up above the wood here, so glue doesn't get in there and kind of suck it in here. So then I count to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm counting 6 holes. And I go ahead and put the next piece on. Put a little glue on. Clear out some of that excess glue on this side. Pushing it down, holding it, count to 6. 6. So I glued 16 down. Now I put on the lathe. I'm just giving a little clamping pressure for a minute or two. Then I'll take it off and clean the glue out. So I gave it a couple minutes clamping time. Now I start from where I started gluing first and cleaning that out first. And there's a lot of ways you can clean it. I use this little guy here, but screwdriver or any other device that you can kind of scrape that glue out. That's all you need. So when I'm scraping, I'm holding down the piece too. So we don't want to move it. Just keep doing that all the way around. So if it's a little too tight one place, I'll go around and check to see if it fits any better somewhere else. And then if it does, great, we'll leave it right there. Let's say that's good. And then if you find that just sticking out a little bit, what you can do here is take a piece and sand a little bit on it. Just a little bit, like that. And then recheck and see if it fits better. And it does. So you don't have to sand much. So moving around the circle and then sanding, and there are a couple of good tricks you'll need to do. Okay, so I got them all dry fitted now. So then I went around and I'm feel comfortable that this is how I want it. It's not really sticking out too much. The ones that were sticking out more than I wanted, I did that sanding trick like I talked about, or moved it to another place. So I marked the very first one we glued at the beginning here. That gives me okay, that's been glued the longest, so that's where I start type of deal. So I just put a little glue in there and work it in. By having them all dry fitted like this, you can, now I feel comfortable, I can push pretty hard, get a nice tight fit in there, because the other in between are supported by the ones on the other side of it. So yeah, just go around and do that all the way around. So the trick here is, you're pushing it hard and then you're pushing down too, because you want a nice, clean, tight fit. especially when you're dealing with a light wood like maple, the seams will, joints will show up pretty easily on maple. So you gotta make sure you have a good tight fit. Pushing in hard, pushing down. So I'm applying a little clamping pressure there for the first row. You only need a few minutes. I'll start turning on it in less than 5. All right, so the center row or center line is going away first. So that was sticking out most. I want to make both lines go away. Just about. I think we got her. We're going to be working on the row number 3, and I marked every third one with a little dot. So wangy or black, white, white, black, black, white, white is the pattern. So that's what we'll glue down. We'll start with a wangy and then 2 whites and then our maples and then 2 wangies and then 2 maples. The other trick here is down here is last row we were right on this 0 point. Now we want to use, last time we skipped every other hole basically. We want to now this time use that one that we just skipped. That will give you the bricklayer effect here, right in the middle of your piece there. So last time we glued it right there, right? You can see how it's lined up with that. Now this time, we're going to use the one that we skipped last time. That brings it right in half right there. And we start with the wangy. I put a line pen mark on here so I know which one I start with. And like Okay, so this next row is row 7. So the first thing I do is push it in, seat it, then make sure that I got it seated good by rotating it. And if it's a little out, you know, like right here, I push it just a little bit that way, not much. And now I'm seeing it's going pretty close to center there. So then I put the knob in. Now this is row 7. So it's an odd row. So what I do is I put it at 0, but then back it off 1 hole. That way you're gluing down the row with the skipped ones you did last time. So the next thing is this row calls for 6 inches in diameter. So that's 3 inches radius. So I set it up for 3, put it in. Try to get as close as you can get it. All right, got that set. So now it's ready to start gluing. So I marked my first piece. Segments for row 16. It calls for the 0.472. It's right now it's at 0.472, but I'm gonna just show you how I adjust it again. So I'm gonna get it out of adjustment. Okay, so it's 526 right now. So you make it smaller. I'm pushing with my left hand against it to take up any backlash. So 0.4715, so 5/10,000ths. We're gonna go with that. So I'm holding tight with my hand here, keeping it square to the fence, and then I'm pushing in the middle here. So it's pretty close. It's a little bit shy here of it, but very respectable. We'll go with that. A little bit smaller, like I said before. I like a little smaller than a little bigger seems to be a problem.